What the fuck is up, you fucking sick, cool collection of gay frogs? I'm here again. It's been a month or so since I last did this, and now you're going to endure this in the same way that I did, because it's now time for Homestuck Act 3. I have a very strong suspicion that this is not going to get any easier for me because, you know, it doesn't get shorter from here on out in this fucking thing. So let's just get into it, shall we? It's time for part 3, and we start with the other friend that we haven't met yet. It's fucking Farm Stink but tricked you. It's actually Jade Harley, and we're back before the meteors hit, and we're gonna have a little sort of day in the life of this character. Here's some fun facts about Jade Harley. She is lolte random, baby. We're back in the golden years, fucking Penguin of Doom type shit. I'm talking Invader Zim type shit. I'm talking Icon has waffles or cheeseburger type shit. Sorry. She also has, you guessed it, a fucking parental figure who she simultaneously aspires to and does not want to be, and he's a fucking Ernest Hemingway grandfather in that he's a national treasure and shit. And he's a big game hunter and venture creature, just like the real Hemingway. Don't ask for my citation on that. Go fucking eat your own ass. She also has a flute, in which she's pretty good at. Here's the clip. I enjoy when they give us interactable moments like this. You can just go diddly 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 diddly. Anyway, her method of capture logging things is a fucking memory game, but unlike everyone else, where it's a fucking chore, newsflash, Jade Harley just knows everything. She can see the future, so it kind of comes in handy. Oh yeah, she's also a furry. Ain't she fucking quick? In seriousness, I'm endeared to this creature. She's a little 2000s quirk, but you know I am the antonym of the internet, and cringe is dead. So fuck it. She's full of good vibes and isn't in love with herself like some dickheads like Dave Strider. I mean, mention. Oops, another slur, hussy. I saw that. Don't think I didn't. Put that in the jar. She goes to feed her pet, but not before playing some sweet tunes, and a plane drops some shit out of the sky. It's worth noting that this is definitely a trend with all them all playing musical instruments and it being like a meaningful, like long cutscene in some fashion. And she makes her plants grow with it. Wow. Fuck you. As she's getting her fucking pet steak ready, she decides to go online. But because she lives in a cool, funky tech house, she goes into fucking Ready Player One. Just fucking put the headset on. And she talks to Dave, and he slurs it up immediately. Another one in the jar. Thank you, Dave, you fucking bastard. We then have a lot of cutting forward in time moments as she sees their futures, with Dave getting his shit pushed in by his brother's puppet, little Cal, Jade going down, Rose going down to the crypt with a dead cat, and John getting beaten the fuck up by ogres. Cool. We also see in the future that the traveling salesman guy gets his shit eaten by the big flying thing the vagabond was in, and he draws a sword. Okay, quick sidebar. I think it's worth mentioning how I am enjoying the aesthetic qualities of this thing a lot by this point. Like, the specific limited palette and the way that everything's drawn super simply but given a lot of room for detail is great, and the music's great. Praise over, let's continue drowning this proverbial bag of cats. Rose continues updating her little walkthrough thing, and it's a tutorial on punch card logic, and there's even an interactable punch card maker for some reason. Neat. Keeps going down, and it turns out the crypt has a laboratory. Wow. And oops, after taking out her stuff, her dead cat gets vaporized by the thing in the middle. Oh no. Speaking of going down, Jade is going down into the depths of her house, and she hates her grandpa's collection of ancient bullshit, and she's being cyberbullied by another character we haven't met before. Ominous. Wow. Fucking cool. Also, goddammit, that's another slur jar in this jar. This is the 4th time. Fuck me. Back to the future, or that is like the very future, like the merchant and shit. Actually turns out this weird thing isn't the same weird thing we see the wandering vagabond in. It's a different thing, and they go in and he turns it on. Oops. And back to Dave, and he gets his shit kicked in by his brother again. It keeps happening. And it looks like this lab that Rose is in is the development room for suburb client things, and Rose plugs herself into John's and sees all the meteorites coming her way, including one that's coming for her directly. Whoa. So we snap to John, and he's fucking kicking the shit out of some ogres, and wow, levels up again, and yummy materials. Yum, yum, yum. The granny sprite tells him to keep building, and he has to do it himself for oblique reasons, and back to Dad. He's fucking kicking the shit out of some imps, and who the fuck's this guy? And we're back to the future again, and we get a name for the fucking merchant, who is the Peregrine Mendicant. What the fuck is a mendicant? Okay, it's a guy who's taken a vow of poverty and lives by begging. Well, I mendicant to be fucking surprised Andrew Hussey decided to go with a fucking literal medieval title for it. You can't just fucking help his big brain. He's so fucking large. You cannot fucking fathom how big Andrew Hussey's cock and brain is. So the mendicant loves mail and finds another thing that allows them to communicate with Jade, the same way that the vagabond did. And upon doing so, immediately breaks her computer and fucking explodes. Nice. Rose finds a weird mutant cat. John, in an attempt to collect the last bit of building grist, jumps into his father's room. And Jade, upon reaching the precipice of her grandfather's temples, finds that
he has the flame.
Immediately falls asleep. Also, cool. And he wakes back up, and it's time to fight. And it turns out, like Granddad, like the American dream, is more dead than previously assumed. Whether him speaking to Jade is a figment of her broad and intense imagination, or a ghost dad situation, not Bill Cosby. Though Bill Cosby does turn up in this thing a lot, maybe too much. Okay, one appearance was too much. He turns out a lot. Anyway. Turns out the mendicant didn't die, and the worm thing that they have saves some mail, and she's very pleased. I don't know what the gender is, fuck off. Rose uses a teleporting machine thing to attempt to teleport her dead cat from the past to the present, but it doesn't go so well. And then we watch a cutscene with very good music. Meow, 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 etc. Oh wait, turns out the cat from earlier was not vaporized, but is just teleporterized. Cool, let's not die ourselves and go through the teleporter. Jade finds the present that was dropped in the plane and sees an
ominous figure
in the distance. John finds out his dad is just kind of normal and does business, and it breaks his dumb brain. And of course we have another fucking perspective character. Cool. This guy's the fucking archangent Jack Noir, and he's the fucking lord of the 18th quadrant of the Underrealm or some shit. He watches over his kingdom with the collaboration of big walls and screens, like a panopticon of horse shit. Sadly his fourth wall is missing. His king tells him to put on a jester hat, which annoys him, and then he sees John Dad kick the shit out of his ghouls, which really annoys him. Meanwhile, Jade is going to go and fucking retrieve John's present, but is accosted by a horrifically powerful animal, which seems to have control over time and space, but seems cool enough, and plays fetch, and of fucking course she's asleep again. So the dog puts her to sleep, and Rose gets teleported into her kitchen, and uh-oh, the house is on fire. Jade, for some reason, has a robot she can control in her dreams, and we get a flashback to John talking about the presents they're excited about, but, you know, couldn't help but add another fucking slur, Andrew, and Jade mentions something about trolls who are annoying her, like that one guy earlier. But who can say if that's going to be relevant? I can't. I've certainly not seen fan art from the future. I wish I was dead. Back to John and Rose, who's named the kitten Mutie, and they reconnect over Pesterfuck. Back to the Wandering Vagabond. Remember him? He's climbing down this weird lab facility thing and towards the big fuck-off frog tower, and where he would if he had rope, but he doesn't. Weird. This kind of place has a lot of similar geometry to Rose's Island house place. Oh wait, there's some rope. It's attached to a harpoon in the distance. So he goes to teleport it, but he forgot to set the time coordinates correctly, and he gets a present instead from Jade. And it's got a little letter on it, and it's like, do the thing. So he's like, okay, I'm scared. So he teleports the rope from the correct time, and then he starts going down his house. Very sick. Well, it looks like the mendicant is coming over here too. And, oh, fuck. It's fucking Lee Harvey Oswald. Shit. He's coming. Back to Fuckville, and John and Rose are trying to make the house a bit more stable for building. And they have a heart-to-heart about the fact that John's dad wasn't a weirdo. Meanwhile, Jade's dreaming, and she's playing cool bass and goes to explore the magical Dream City, which may or may not be actually real. Back to the fucking future, and the vagabond reads the letter, which tells him to give the present to the mendicant. Bam! Gunshots. Get down, Mr. President. So he gives it to the mendicant, who... Oh, they are a girl. Okay, I've been fucking interchangeably gendering them like a fucking... like a whore. And now I know. I love not having to assume, because it makes an ass out of you and me. And I love to eat ass. Jade... oh god, I can't continue. Jade checks in on the John from inside the dream, and goes back inside before the eclipse. John goes on to a combining rampage and makes a bunch of bullshit that'll help, and another slur at 6. Really good. Dave gets his ass kicked thoroughly by his brother to more Toby Fox stylings, who does eventually give up the suburb beta stuff that he needed. So that's a success. Jade's dreaming gets pretty loopy. Seems that the eclipse is kind of like a weird dream fugue state that allows her to see visions of the past and future and stuff. Also, the dog is called Beck. We know that now. She gets the impression that she needs to go to the hidden temple on the island, so she goes. And then, damn, it looks like the building's getting pretty close to the top there, huh, John? Looking pretty good. Back to Dave. He's killed Cal. Great. His sword is broken, though. That's a shame. So he fucks around with the Silodex and picks up the beta and goes to tell Rose, who's trying to finish the present for John to teleport. I don't know. Back to the past, and Jean sent her a present too. It's wool she was using to make John's presents now. How's serendipitous? And it also looks like a troll is trolling her too, but it's like weird trolling. Like they're trying to communicate, but are really bad at it. Meanwhile, Dave in the past is doing the same thing, and he's got another present. It's also the same thing. But he's also getting trolled, and he's like less interested in figuring out what their deal is as much as he is just sexually harassing the shit out of them. Back to the future, and Lee Harvey Oswald is actually the aimless renegade, and he's debating whether to kill 2 others that are down there, and he decides, yeah, he should. In the future, Jade prepares the note in the present at the monument vis-a-vis the dream visions, and zoops, the fucking vagabond teleports it. And in the future, the mendicant gets the memo to use her transporterized thing to mail it back to Jade as God intended. And zoop, it gets teleported. So Jade in the past gets the present, and the stage is set for her to become. And this is like fucking far past. She's like a baby. So it gets sent to the past, and she reads it, and she's really confused. But it does maybe seem to set the stage of her becoming friends with everybody. And wow, it all connects. Why does it have to do that? John's dad is managing to do really good. And he kicks the shit out of more goblins, and Jack Noir is like, okay, I'm gonna fuck you up with this knife. But then John's dad takes his hat and fucking Luigi's it, and he's like, okay, you can live, you're cool. And now it's the finale, so bear with me a sec. Dave begins to download Suburb and is very bad at the whole process of putting the alchemy bullshit down, and he's really fucking up Rose's day, and it's looking like Rose might really get killed by the meteor. But thankfully she fucking sacrifices the guy, and her Colonel Sprite is a cross between her mom's weird doll thing and the dead cat, and she manages to ascend like John did. Sick. Meanwhile, Jade goes into the fucking Temple of Doom, and a huge flower opens up, and it's got Dave's copy of Suburb, so he can ascend and not die, hopefully. Well, I say hopefully. He can die. It keeps happening. John manages to go up and up and up with his cool new gear, and manages to ascend out of the fucking void space, and thank fuck, Act 3 is over. Jesus Christ. I was supposed to do this whole script with bullet points. You know, it was supposed to be a little just zip zooming, and I was supposed to be doing a lot of, improv, like, hee-ha-ha. But I'll be frank, if I didn't just write, it's just 2 pages of non-stop unpunctuated notes. If I didn't do that, I would not remember a single fucking thing about this. I'm very angry because I wanted to do this series and not have to put much effort in, but I'm having to put effort in, and I'm mad. For real though, let's summarize and say what I liked. As usual, the art and music are pretty great. The finale bit especially was really fun to watch, and I gotta admit I'm starting to understand the kind of plot beats that are happening, even if everything is happening out of order with 8 different trillion characters, and I am starting to dig the plot. I'm getting some strong power of friendship vibes, and that's fun. What didn't I like? Well, as much as I am capable of slightly keeping up, Jesus Christ, there are too many characters on screen at the same time and time periods. This is not fucking bearable. Like, the reason this chapter took 2 months instead of a week was because the last time I tried to read this, I had to like take a month's break before I returned because I was literally dying. There's so much all the time. I can imagine that this would have actually been quite manageable when it was just releasing at the time, because you'd know that there's only a finite amount of stuff you can read, and then you'd get that juicy bit of mental space called Andrew Hussey has to draw the rest of the bullshit. And that time would be great, because it wouldn't be time that he's putting his fucking cock in your eye for another round of bullshit. You get to unpack that. But at the moment, because it is a finished product, I'm ironically having a harder time finishing it. It's kind of funny like that. So bear with me, because at this point I am so entrenched in this bullshit. I have to soldier on like a trooper, but it's gonna be a fucking soldier. I can tell that this is going to be hard to read. And if this is the main way that you're learning about Homestuck for the first time, give me praise for parsing it for you, you pieces of shit. Just kidding, I love you. Oh yeah, and the slur count like quadrupled this act. Actually sextupled. Which doesn't surprise me. This was 2009. Newgrounds was in its edgy, no-holds-barred fuck you heyday, where no one gave a shit about anything, and irony poisoning wasn't identified as a reason we have Nazis now. But now we know, and it's kind of a bit much. It really hasn't aged this thing well. So anyway, Act 3 down! It's like 7 out of 10. Surely it doesn't get worse from here. Surely it won't take me another 2 months to read a single chapter of this horse shit. Surely they won't introduce like 8 new perspective characters in the next act. Surely. Help!